Stephane Lemelin is a distinguished Canadian pianist, university professor, and artistic director who has won acclaim from national and international audiences for his broad range of talents and sensitive artistry. He's in Winnipeg performing with the Agassiz Chamber Music Festival and has popped into the Classic 107 studio to tell us more about this wonderful week of music making. Good afternoon, Stephane.
Good afternoon.
Welcome back to Classic 107. It's been a couple of years, but it's a pleasure to have you here.
Well, thank you. It's always a pleasure to be in Winnipeg.
Well, so you were part of the Agassiz Chamber Music Festival when it began, right, in the year 2000?
Yes. Actually, Paul Marlene, the artistic director, and I were trying to figure out last night how many times I've been here for the Agassiz Festival, and we didn't quite decide. We didn't come to a final answer, but it's been, I would say, at least 6, 7, maybe 8. I don't know, but it's been a lot, several times.
Yeah, that's very remarkable. What brings you back to Winnipeg for this festival as often as you're back?
Well, I mean, it's just been great. I mean, it's a wonderful event. I was here, I think, in the very early years of the festival. Yeah. So I mean, I've seen it grow into what really has become one of the staples of the Canadian chamber music festival scene. That's also a wonderful event, great musicians, great atmosphere, good audiences. So, what more could you ask for?
Truly. And the festival formally began this past Saturday at the concerts entitled Connections of the Spirit. How was it?
It was good. It was a good concert. Did some very unusual, wonderful pieces. Some songs by Lily Boulanger, who a composer who died very, very young. She died when she was 24 in 1918. An extraordinarily talented composer with Sarah Jo Kirsch. And really, those songs were a discovery for me. I had not played them before. I mean, I know of Lily Boulanger's music, but I hadn't really gotten to play any of it. So great music, really, really wonderful. And then we did the Forêt Trio, which, of course, has been one of my favorites for a long, long time. And then the Brahms C minor quartet. And that's really one of the great pieces of chamber music. We had a wonderful time doing it.
When you were last in 2015 chatting with Michael, you mentioned that the Brahms was some of the most satisfying music in the repertoire. What is it about Brahms that you enjoy so much?
Well, I think basically every musician loves to play Brahms. I mean, he knew how to write so well for every instrument. The music is so rich. I mean, it's so satisfying on every level, emotionally, structurally. It's such amazingly deep music. I mean, it's music that you don't get tired of, really.
Yeah, it's profound and constant discovery.
Absolutely.
So the festival runs it runs a week, and you're not performing every night, not this time around, right? Do you get a downtime?
Well, actually, I am performing every day that I am here. Wow. I leave tomorrow, so tonight, Monday, is my last concert. I played yesterday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, the Chausson Concert, which is a sextet for solo violin, piano, and string quartet. And then tonight, the concert at 7:30 p.m. tonight.
That's a very concentrated amount of time and a lot of music. It's got to be a little bit challenging, right? I mean, just to prepare it and then to bring it on stage and perform it with all these other gifted musicians.
It is, but that's really what summer festivals are like, and I have to say, it's also a special thrill. I mean, to be in a place where everybody's here to do this. Everybody's focused on rehearsing and performing and also having a good time together. And it's a really different atmosphere, different spirit from these sort of festival settings compared to the concerts we play during the year, where we sometimes travel somewhere, play a concert and leave. This is very different. It's a bit of an orgy of music making, but it's a lot of fun.
And that's part of the delight of chamber music, isn't it? Just getting together with your friends and making that art, to come alive.
Absolutely. I mean, it is chamber music is a conversation, and it's a conversation on many levels. And obviously, the human aspect of it, the personal aspect of it, enters into the equation as well.
You mentioned the Boulanger and it being newer music to you. Was there anything else that was a new discovery, or anything that you really had to sink your teeth into and spend more time working on?
Well, I mean, everything other than the Boulanger are things that I had played before. Yeah. I mean, sometimes not for a very long time. I mean, the Bernstein Clarinet Sonata I'm playing tonight, I have played it sometime in my past. I couldn't even remember exactly when. It was a long time ago. And everything else are things that I've played before, but even then, you still have to go back, and you still have to prepare it and to spend quite a bit of time with the music. Yeah.
Well, of course, and looking forward to hearing that. We were talking about it here at the station. The music director, Chris Wolf, is a clarinetist, and he was talking about it here just earlier today, and looking forward to hearing it later this evening. One of the other things that I wanted to mention was that this is also an educational music festival, in that you guys do outreach and master classes. And I know you've given many of them throughout the world. What is it about masterclasses that you enjoy doing?
Well, it's a wonderful way to share some ideas.
Yeah.
I just came back from the masterclass I gave and heard 3 young, very talented young pianists. When you give a masterclass, it's a wonderful way to share some ideas. Obviously, in a masterclass, you don't get to do the hard work, which is really when you are responsible for seeing that progress actually happens with the student over time, and that's really the hard thing. To come in and give a few ideas is easy to do, but it can also be very inspiring for. It can be inspiring for the student sometimes to be given new ideas. Sometimes those ideas may make sense on the spot. It may be in other cases that something that one says will come back years later and will click suddenly. I mean, I certainly have had that experience myself, it's a very satisfying way to be in contact with younger musicians.
And I mean, that is obviously something you do a fair bit of, being a professor. But I think also for me, sitting in on master classes or participating in them, just to be in the audience and to absorb that conversation back and forth, and just to get the ideas flowing, like you mentioned, it can pique one's interest, it can spark an idea, and you never know where it's going to take someone.
That's right. I mean, you can sometimes learn just as much. It can make, it can have just as much of an impact for somebody who's not playing in the class, but just listening. And again, I've had that experience myself of really learning, having new ideas and being stimulated by masterclasses I've heard other people give, even if I wasn't playing at all, but just by sitting in. Yeah.
So speaking of not playing, I know that this is your last night before you leave Winnipeg, but with all that is going on, with all the music making and all the performers that are here, do you have the chance to be an audience member at all? Do you get to step back and listen?
Well, not really. I mean, my only chance will be tonight in the second half of the concert, because I'm not playing in the second half of the concert. So I'm looking forward to hearing the Brahms Clarinet Quintet with Jim Campbell and Olivier and Paul and Kerry and Milan. But otherwise, I have not had that experience because I've been playing.
Of course. I mean, you're a very sought-after player that way. But is it something that you like to do? Is it something that...
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah, we're all admirers of the music and performers of it
obviously,
as well. Stephane, thank you so much for coming by the Classic 107 studio. I know it's a busy day for you, so appreciate your coming by.
My pleasure.
You have the opportunity, one last time, to see Stephane Lemelin performing this evening as part of the Agassiz Chamber Music Festival. It began this past Saturday, runs through Friday, June 15th. And for more information, you can visit agassizfestival.com or classic107.com and click on the events tab.